Okay, let's jump right into this explainer of the Chilean land transport cargo policy. Look, if you move goods, you already know the road is totally unpredictable. So today, we're going to unpack exactly how your shipments are protected under these restricted conditions. And honestly, more importantly, we'll look at the fine print you absolutely cannot afford to miss.
It's a pretty heavy question, right? Are you actually protected, or is one minor slip-up putting your whole operation on the line? We're going to turn this incredibly dense insurance contract into your practical cargo survival guide. We'll map out the actual physical journey of your shipment to see exactly where your coverage acts like an impenetrable shield and, well, where it just drops completely, leaving you totally exposed.
Here's our roadmap for today. Number 1, coverage and insured matter. Number 2, when it starts and ends. 3, exclusions, what's not covered. 4, your obligations as the insured. And finally, number 5, what to do in a claim. Let's start right off with Section 1, coverage and insured matter.
First things first, we need to set your financial baseline. You absolutely must understand your deductible, which is just the chunk of the damage you've agreed to pay out of pocket no matter what happens. And just as crucial is knowing when a damaged shipment legally flips into a constructive total loss. Under the specific policy, that triggers when the cost to repair or save your cargo exceeds 3/4 of its actual value. It's literally just a math equation at that point. So, what is actually covered here? Well, as long as the goods are inside Chilean territory, your baseline coverage is there to protect against the major, catastrophic stuff. We are talking fires, truck rollovers, bridge or tunnel collapses, and totally unavoidable natural disasters like earthquakes or avalanches. It's basically your safety net for those absolute worst-case, headline-making scenarios.
Moving right along to Section 2, when it starts and ends. The transit clause is fascinating because it is so precise. Your coverage starts the literal second the cargo is loaded onto the vehicle at the origin. It hums along during ordinary transit, and here's the real kicker. It expires exactly 48 hours after arriving at the final destination. Once that 48-hour clock runs out, you are entirely on your own.
But wait, what if something totally outside your control happens? Say a force majeure event hits, like a freak storm or a massive road closure, and it delays the unloading past that 48-hour mark. That clock does not just pause automatically. You have to notify your insurer immediately to agree on an extension. If you stay silent, your protection completely vanishes. Which brings us to the danger zone. Section 3, exclusions, or what is not covered.
There is a huge, glaring contrast in what actually gets covered here. A massive collision? Covered. But hitting a nasty pothole? Not covered. What if the packaging was just terrible from the start, or the product had an inherent defect, what the industry calls inherent vice? You are entirely unprotected. And interestingly, any losses caused simply because of a delay are also totally excluded from this policy.
And then we get to driver conduct. Listen, this policy takes an absolute zero-tolerance stance on drunk driving. It strips away your coverage entirely if the driver unjustifiably refuses a breathalyzer or if they test at 1.0 grams per mil of alcohol or higher. They actually do the math on this, factoring in a blood alcohol decrease of 0.11 grams per hour just to figure out exactly how intoxicated the driver was at the exact moment of the crash.
Furthermore, it's not just about alcohol. If your driver commits gross infractions, we're talking driving without a valid license, blowing past basic stop or yield signs, speeding, or making highly dangerous illegal passes on blind curves or bridges, your insurance shield is gone instantly. The heavy responsibility for safe driving rests entirely on the shoulders of your team.
All right, shifting gears to Section 4, your obligations as the insured.
As the insured, you aren't just sitting on the sidelines. You are strictly obligated to pay your premiums, obviously, but you also have an active duty of care to prevent accidents. Crucially, and a lot of people mess this up, you must never make private, behind-closed-door settlements with at-fault third parties without the insurer's express permission. Doing that destroys their right to subrogation, which is basically their legal right to chase the at-fault party to recover their costs.
But what if your operations change? Let's say the risks of your transport change or aggravate during the policy. Maybe you start hauling way more dangerous goods. You have to follow these exact steps. You have exactly 5 days from the moment you become aware of the new risk to notify the insurer. If you drop the ball on this, the insurer can be completely exonerated from their duty to pay out your claim.
And let's not forget the most basic obligation, paying for the actual policy. If you miss a premium payment, you don't magically lose coverage the very next morning. The insurer will send a formal warning letter to your registered address. But from the exact date that letter is sent, you have exactly a 15-day grace period to pay up before the policy terminates entirely.
Finally, the moment of truth. Section 5, what to do in a claim.
The literal second an incident happens out on the road, the clock starts ticking. You have to inform the insurer as soon as humanly possible. But you can't just stand by the side of the road taking pictures. You are legally required to actively step in and take all necessary measures to minimize further damage to the cargo. If the truck rolls, you've got to try and secure whatever goods survive the impact.
Under Article 17, getting your payout isn't a given. It's not enough to just point at a wrecked truck. You have to meticulously prove 4 sequential facts. You have to prove the contract is actually active, prove the goods were literally loaded onto the truck, prove your specific financial loss, and transparently prove the exact circumstances of the crash without hiding a single detail.
And if things get messy and there's a dispute over the claim, keep your eye on the clock. You have a 4-year statute of limitations to take legal action. That 4-year timer starts the moment the obligation becomes enforceable. It only pauses temporarily the moment you officially file the claim with the insurer, and it picks right back up when they hand down their final decision.
So, we've broken down the baseline coverage, the tight timelines, your strict duties, and the exact claims process. But honestly, after seeing how easily a driver's single bad decision on a curve or your warehouse team's improper packaging can instantly vaporize your entire safety net, you have to ask yourself a tough question. Are your daily operations actually aligned with this policy, or is your coverage just an illusion waiting to shatter? Take a hard look at your supply chain today.